So we can chant Sahana Vavatu by the time others join in a couple of minutes. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Couple of questions have come till now. So no need to search for questions to give, but if there are questions, then put it up so they can be addressed in tomorrow's satsang. Today there are no question answers. Today it should be a relatively brief session. Let's see, less than 1 hour. Swami willing. Okay, we will start 6:30. So today we are talking about, we are going to dwell together on free will or freedom versus destiny. Prarabdha versus Purusharth. And then go on to focus or meditate upon Purusharth and divine grace. Right? Purusharth versus Prarabdha. Purusharth, as we know, use of Kriyamana Karma arrows without color, with discrimination, Viveka, in right direction. Prarabdha, even while we are exercising Purusharth, the new arrows on one side, the other Prarabdha arrows are getting aimlessly focused, about which we cannot do anything at all in most cases, or we can do something in some cases, which we are going to deal today. How far Purusharth helps in dealing with Prarabdha? So in this case, there are 4 levels of Prarabdha. Very acute, mild, very mild. The very acute Prarabdha are those Prarabdha about which you cannot do anything at all. There is no choice given to you at all. For example, the situation, of course, we are the script writers, we have decided the environment, and that is understood. But having written the script, having entered into the womb of the chosen mother, and having been born, after we are born, whatever is going to happen due to that environment, due to that parents, due to siblings, due to whatever environment, the type of body you have got, relatives, etc., about this, you cannot do anything at all, except for your love, which might bring about a change. Otherwise, actually, you cannot do anything about all these things. They will be what they are. The environment will be what it is, because you have written the script, right? So how do we deal with this kind of prarabdha? Very acute. You can't do anything about it. How to deal with this? First is acceptance. Second is being kind. Third is sadhana. First is acceptance. We have to accept that too after these two, three satsangs, 100%, not 99%, 100% acceptance has to be there that it is we who have scripted this whole drama of our birth, growth up to death as per our karmas. So the onus is on us. Accept totally accepting the responsibility. Second is very important for those so few sadhakas who have been communicating with Acharya on various things subsequent to karma sessions. Needless to name them at all. Very important, very important, being kind to ourselves. Okay. As much as he left you with that beautiful thought in the last satsang that whosoever is causing you pain, definitely don't get agitated, don't throw back, don't add new karmas to yourself. And if you can excel, if you can exceed in your level, spiritual level, evolve, you send your love to them. He left you with that thought so that their agitation may come down and their karma may come down because their actions, thought flow actions may come down, possibly with love. If anything can conquer anything on this earth, it is only love. You see what is happening to all the superpowers with all super weapons and super technology. What is happening? It's only love, which there is possibility. If that fails, then everything fails. He left you with that thought. This is about others, sending love to you. Now he is telling, love yourself. Be kind to yourself. As you are undergoing the prarabdha, very acute prarabdha, about which you cannot help anything. Why? If not for us, we may say it is difficult because we have identified with this body, mind, intellect, and this is suffering. And we know that this is the cause of our own deeds. How we are talking about loving ourselves, loving others, that duality is okay. Loving ourselves is discovering ourselves as Satchitananda. Oh, that is the ultimate state. No. Before that, it is easy because there is a prop here, there is God here. So, even if you are not able to love yourself as what you perceive yourself to be, the BMI, at least as a devotee of any Lord, we are very clear that the God is Hridaya Nivasi. He is the indweller. So if he is the indweller, if he is there, then we have to be kind to our heart. We have to be loving our heart. Otherwise, at least for a very like allopathy, like antibiotic, quick solution, at least take it that if you hurt yourself, then you are hurting God. Though it is not true, but it is very effective. Be kind to yourself, very kind to you. Forgiving others is okay, but forgiving ourselves is divine. We have to forgive ourselves also. We have to love ourselves, not the body, mind, intellect standing before the mirror. Not that loving. Loving ourselves, our inner self. Very important. And intense sadhana, about which we are coming. Then comes the acute prarabdha. In acute prarabdha, yes, this is also helpless. All of them are helpless, but then the kind of solutions differ. the kind of our able to deal with that differs with the kind of prarabdha. Acute prarabdha is like it cannot be totally wiped off, but the impact of this can be a little reduced. How? If your prarabdha is to fail, there is a in the examination, there is a possibility that with intense studies, focused studies, maybe there is a possibility to come at least at third class level. First, second distinction is ruled out. You are destined to fail. But with your sadhana, with your this thing studies, not sadhana, with your studies, there is a possibility. There is a little scope in this acute prarabdha. Okay, like not the family, not the spouse's parents, about him you cannot help, but say a kind of handicap or an accident or something, still there is a possibility to live with that and not go down morally. Your morale need not come down. You can still uphold yourself and love yourself. Acute prarabdha. Mild prarabdha. It is from this stage onwards. Of course, in the other two, very acute, holding on to God's feet is becomes utmost necessary for giving you the strength. At the mild and the very next stage, very mild, in this stage, your sadhana should ideally take off. It should fly. There is a book, na, one by some devotee, Direct Flight to Divinity. So at this stage, your sadhana should fly because you have already cleared your very acute and acute stages. Now you have to focus. Now the discrimination should come in the path of jnana. Surrender should come in the path of bhakti. Love should come in, flowing, usher in the love. Mild is like there are very dirty patches on the wall. Okay. Maybe you may not be able to remove the sign of those dirty patches, but then with strong detergent, with strong this thing, uh, chemical, some solution, you can rub them off to the extent that they are almost not seen from a distance. This is mild prarabdha. Okay. Loss of job or certain things like that. There is always a scope of revival. Very mild is not on the wall. Few drops of some dirt on the floor, which can very easily be cleared by a proper cleaning procedure. Okay. For all those, wherever we see that from a very young stage they have taken off in sadhana, or they are very successful from a very young age, unimaginable for us at 30s or 40s, wherever 50s, wherever we are. It is to be understood that they have already cleared the very acute and gone into the mild and very mild. So they have taken off. So for us, what is the lesson? We have to clear these very acute and acute with our, the more it is acute, the more surrender, the more intense should be our sadhana, so as to offset the impact of this. You cannot clear it. You have to offset the impact of this prarabdha. Like Janaka roared in the last satsang, where is the prarabdha karma for me? Because I don't exist as this BMI. BMI sensation is not there. BMI identity is not there. Though which body is undergoing prarabdha? That much focus is there in case of wherever you think yourself, wherever you are suffering the most. externally, obviously, or internally, not known to anyone, but suffocating, suffering. There, very acute, 100% there should be, the sadhana should be very intense. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen because that suffering has such a demoralizing impact that it puts you down. It should not be. You will never have the strength to let go of this very acute prarabdha otherwise. At least let us be practical, if not spiritual. These are all practical lessons we have to. Ultimately, they drive us to sadhana only. Everything drives to one single goal. Chinya has written at length about karma, chosen like pearls of wisdom, few chosen lines from Chinmaya about the Purushartha versus Prarabdha. He says, we are not the helpless pawns in the chess, those small pawns, in the hands of the mighty tyrant king of Prarabdha. If we are weak and sorrowful, it is solely because of our own willful actions. Undaki kondavellam unnali. You are accountable for what you are. In our ignorance, we pursued certain negative values in the past, and they are now coming up. The effect of that is coming up. That is why we are what we are now, the prarabdha that we are suffering. If we always sit with the delusion that whatever has to happen, it has to happen due to prarabdha, I am helpless like the pawn. The king comes and king from here, there, he strikes off the pawns in chess, right? If we sit that what my fate, my prarabdha, nothing is going to improve at all. Then he says, carve out a new channel. Fill your mind with repeated good thoughts. The Reiki is all about that. Vedanta is all about that. All spiritual sadhana is all about that. Filling ourselves with positive thoughts. Aham Brahmasmi. 20 times chant in the morning when you. After 30 days, you tell him whether there is slight impact. There definitely will be. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Tell yourself, assertive, irrespective of what I am. I am divine. 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 Like the actor so and so, Rajnikant or so and so, when he takes a role, he has to do justice to that role. So he exactly acts as that role. Exactly when you say to yourself, be practical. When I am divine, I am divine, I am divine, I am divine, you have to act divine ultimately, sooner or later. How can you say something and act something else? The hero cannot take up the hero's role and act like a villain. Not possible. Movie will be a flop, right? If this was Gurudev, Chinmay asked this thing. His guru sitting at the Ananda Kutir in Rishikesh, Shivanandaji Maharaj. He has written on all subjects, in all bhakti, in all karma, in all jnana, in all Raja Yoga. There is nothing left. There is a video in which he commands and his students, all these, those who became very great afterwards, Venkateshananda and all young lads, they are all with langot, they are performing the yoga. And how he does, it is like 10,000 watts of current, the strength, the force, the power with Guruji. Shivananji gives to his disciple. He is singing. He is singing and in such a rhythm on some spiritual aspect, on some deity or something. He will send it to you. You have to see. You have to see, focus. He's singing in such a rhythm that rhythm exactly is as per these steps which they have to perform in the yoga. And in between, to motivate them, he also joins in. No matter he has a belly, but he also joins in and he does it as effectively or more effectively than the Raja Yoga. Seeing him performing that, who will think that he has written commentary on Brahma Sutras? Prostrations to him. Prostrations to him. So he is writing. Where others will all give mild dosages, chinmaya, because they will all think that these people, we should not be very strong with them. We have to, like, he also is very soft most of the time, except with very few sadhakas who with whom he is ruthless. He has a right to be ruthless with them. So, so this master, he roars. He never speaks. He never speaks. It's line. Fearless lion. You have to see the sound effect and the power with which those words emerge. Do not weep. Do not cry over spilt milk. There is no use. You will not gain anything by doing this. Instead of weeping over, he's just like hammering. Vivekananda, Shivanandaji, and all. In whatever slumber you are, one thing is guaranteed: they will wake you up from your slumber. They will shake you inside out, topsy turvy, and make you stand. Again, if you are going to sleep, nothing can be done. Instead of weeping over the failure of crops during last year, go on plowing new crops this year. You will get abundant rain. He's talking about Purusharth, how to overcome Prarabdha with Purusharth. You will get abundant rain this year and rich harvest. Do virtuous actions now. Think rightly, act rightly. We will have a brilliant and a glorious future. Man is the master. He, friends, heroes. Man, this is his, not he can no way reach near him, but this is the modulations of this great master's voice. Man is the master of his destiny. Like that he speaks. Wake up now from the deep slumber of ignorance. Lead a virtuous life. Never hurt the feelings of others. Mold your character. Purify your mind. Concentrate. And at the end of each of his article, each of his writings, each of his talks, whether it is a 1 hour talk or a 5, the last few lines will elevate you and take you there, at least for a split of a second, if you are sincere. Thou art Nitya Mukta Purusha, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. No doubt when he deals with the sadhana chatushraya, when he gives you this session, there is the line where his disciple Venkateshananda says that when my master, Shivananji, when my master used to roar that give up everything, renounce everything in Vairagya, renounce everything, we all will be charged to that extent. He is getting goosebumps even when he's telling this. We will be charged to that extent. We will not even, you wearing that small lango kaupyana, we will feel that much vairagya will come that we will feel like throwing our kaupyana and getting into the cave, meditate till the time we attain self-realization, and then come back to the master and whisper, Kenopanishad. I have reached Master. I think I know that. I have known Brahman. Some of the factors which help to all these things are subtly in some way covered in Shivananji's or Chinmaya's this thing writings, but still we will deal. Couple of factors which go to a great extent, and also we will see how they help in overcoming prarabdha and intensifying purushartha. First aspect is sadhana, 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 and sadhana. How? Sadhana has the potential to take you from tamas to rajas and from rajas to sattvic. And only in the sattvic mind, the seeds of viveka and vairagya will sprout, will blossom. Only in sattvic mind, devotion will flourish. Love will flow like tsunami. So sadhana takes you, it has this role to move you to sattvic. Ultimately, you have to become pure sattva. That is Jivan Mukta. When Triguna Rahitaya. So you transcend all the three gunas. Sadhana has this great potential. And with that sattvic mind, it is almost guaranteed that your focus of your kriyamana karma, new arrows will be accurate. Then we move on. Help from spiritually evolved. There are two categories in this. Second, we are coming to Guru. This is in the case of those who are very much interested, sincere in listening and taking the guidance, but unable to accept someone as Guru. No problem. Help from spiritually evolved. How this helps in the case of Prarabdha Purushartha. Again, they help you to a great extent to move to Sattvic. And if you are already Sattvic, which they have to certify, if you believe in them, they will take you, they can help you in getting more Sattvic, extremely Sattvic. They will never interfere in your Prarabdha. They will guide you, they will give you moral support to face the consequences of the Prarabdha. And when something good is destined to happen because of the Prarabdha, white arrows, then they will give you abundant blessings so that that occurs immediately. The good things come to you immediately. They are perfectly in alignment with your Prarabdha. In case of a Guru, now we are coming to Guru, whom you have accepted totally from the depth of your heart and you are at his feet. Feet, not physical feet. You have surrendered. Even they, usually gurus, will never perform any miracle. They will have no thought of doing any siddhis. They will not even have a thought of peeping into their disciples' heart and then knowing. They don't do anything. Their dharma is to teach Brahma Vidya. That's it. There are no agendas, no ifs and buts attached to it. But When your prarabdha has reached such a conducive level, such a good, best level, that there something great has to happen. Maybe realization or something lesser than that, but something very great has to happen in your realization, in your sadhana. You have reached that level, then the divine power, call him Swami, call him Brahman, they will trigger the Jivan Mukta Guru to actually just spontaneously do something extraordinarily out of the world. And be clear, they will never have the onus for that. They will never say that I did it. 10,000 times the Shishya may tell that you did it. They will smile because they know that they have never thought about it. It is the intuition which has come. Now we dealt with those who hail from the spiritually evolved without your accepting them as Guru, maybe. But now Guru Kripa. For a disciple, Guru is his world or her world. At the time of initiation, Guru takes complete responsibility of all the karmas. Don't be misled. That means Guru takes up complete responsibility for how the Shishya is going to deal with his or her karmas. He doesn't take over the karmas. Guru gives and guides all the measures to save the disciple not from prarabdha, to save the disciple from their indulgence, their awareness, their focus on their prarabdha karma. These expressions contain so much of depth, so much of subtlety in them. An ideal disciple would understand this, what is being told now. The root cause of Guru may not change your prarabdha. In fact, the more there is a possibility, not in all cases, depending upon your prarabdha, more you are intensifying your sadhana at the feet of your Guru, you may suffer more. How an ideal disciple will take this more suffering with Guru's guidance? Prarabdha, maybe with the Guru Kripa, the Prarabdha are getting cleared a little faster than their usual course. So all those things will all be going on. But Guru's role is only one thing, Brahma Vidya, and Brahma Vidya is the means. What is the fructification of the Brahma Vidya? To annihilate the ego of the disciple. Once the ego is transcended, then what if the disciple's body has cancer? What if the entire world, even his kith or her kith and kin, leave that disciple? Ego is transcended, moksha is attained, self is discovered, finished. To that extent, Guru can help, Guru Kripa can help. A guru, an ideal guru will never tell if he had some hidden agenda when he says that I will give you liberation. No, that God has to interfere at the last stage and hold hand and get. But almost to that gate of transcending the ego, he can keep on guiding. He can keep on guiding, keep on guiding. And when Narendra had to get realization, or when Mukunda had to get realization, At that time, through intuition, from the masters, you all know Ramakrishna's story, how through Ramakrishna, Vivekananda attained, Narendra attained really. Through Yukteswar, Guru Yukteswar, how Paramahamsa Yogananda attained. We all are aware of that. Otherwise, we can Google it out. Not a big deal. But when the time has come, then God acts through them and something is done and realization is attained. That is the power of being in the Guru Shishya Parampara. You may not get the world totally, you may be a total failure in the world at the worldly level. Okay, Meera, Naat kahe, kul na shire. You may be thrown, abuses by everyone around. You may lose the world, but the Guru will help you in transcending your ego. He is not going to come and help you and guide you how step by step how to you deal with the samsara. But one thing he will help. He or she will give their life for the sake of disciple to transcend their ego. That is the power. The more sincerely you surrender to the Guru Tattva, not Guru form, the more the Guru will be able to work through you in removing your ego. And transcending ego is the only goal. Transcending the ego and self-realization, you can tell like this, or you can keep transcending the ego realization, or you can say transcending the ego and realization. Same. There is no gap, time space gap between transcending ego and attaining self realization. Both are beyond time space limitations. Now, what happens when you, given all these things, when you still go to the Guru and say that in spite of all his involvement or her involvement, the Guru's involvement, even after making sincere attempts in sincere efforts in the beginning, ultimately, if the Shishya disciple is going to tell, and all these things at different point of time have been told by someone or the other to him. They may be listening this session or not. Too much of mental agony, too much of things happening in my life. I am not able to focus on sadhana. Disciple A. Too much of anti talk by my family members. They are dead against my taking up total sadhana under you, Gurudev, and surrendering to you and going full fledged in the sadhana. They say that your life will be useless. You are not giving attention to us. You are not performing your role the way you should be. You may become a sannyasin. This is not the way. You have to be in. I am. I am helpless. I have to listen to them. Disciple B starts with full enthusiasm, but the samsara clouds the devotee, their disciple, and say, and again and again and again and again, pulled by worldly attractions, unable to continue. Disciple C. most unstable, to the extent that the disciple himself or herself, they don't know what they are doing. One feet on the ground, one feet on the grave, we say, na, like that. Sadhana in the afternoon, running away in the evening. Such an imbalance, uncertainty, total unstable disciple D. Excessive involvement in career, excessive work pressure, too much, 14 hours, 16 hours, I am into the work pressure. I don't have the strength. I don't have the physical strength. I don't have the mental strength. I cannot even think about sadhana. Disciple E. In all these cases, the guru will step back. Where he sees that there is not even 2% possibility in the as per the given moment today. Tomorrow Swami may perform miracle. Okay. The Guru will never say you are incorrigible. No. Tonight, Kalidasa, how much time it took for Devi Ma to grant him so much of knowledge? Thakur Ramakrishna, illiterate, how he was graced. So miracles can always happen till our death. But as things stand now, when the Guru sees no possibility of the sadhaka involving in sadhana, then he will keep on radiating love, keep on sending love, keep on sending love. For it is only love that can transform if the prarabdha of the disciple to get transformed is there. This was all about prarabdha and purushartha. Now we are coming to purushartha versus divine grace. As a 21-year-old lad, 1947, Swami writes to his brother. Can you imagine? I have a task to foster all mankind and ensure for all of them lives full of ananda. I have a verb to lead all who stray away from the straight path again into goodness and save them. I am attached to a work that I love, to remove the sufferings of the poor and grant them what they lack. I have my definition of devotion which I expect from my devotees. I have a definition of devotion which I expect from my devotees. Those devoted to me have to treat joy and grief, gain and loss with equal fortitude. This is the definition. Swami has it. This is the definition. This is my core competency of my devotee. This is my expectation from me. They have to treat pleasure and pain as one with equal fortitude. Titiksha, sadhana chatushtaya, we will come deal with all these things. He deals with both in these two paragraphs. It's a big letter. As far as Purushartha, he says to lead all who stray away from the straight path again into goodness. Due to their prarabdha, they stray away. Divine grace, when he says, and save them. And he says, to ensure all of them live in Ananda. So he has said, means it is granted, no matter what we are, where we are, how we are, he is bound to fill up. See, you have told in your earlier avatar also, Pran Jai, par Vachan Jai. So you have promised that you will give us Ananda. I am going to sit like this. It is very well your duty, bound and duty, to give me Ananda. Not right. God's grace and human effort, Purushartha, bring about the divine experience. A matchstick cannot alone ignite the fire. A matchbox alone cannot produce fire. Fire results when they work together. It's a bilateral process. What is the bilateral process? Your Purushartha and His divine grace. They have to come together and meet at a point. One cannot sit idle thinking like you have to give me Ananda. The divine grace will do something. It is not going to work. Nor on the other side, one should be arrogant enough to say that everything is on my self efforts. God has given me discrimination. God is out. So whatever I am, the Shivananji Maharaj told, you are the master of your destiny. Where is the role of God? That arrogance will also not get you. Both extremes are not done. Neither can you sit idle, nor can you say that I am the master, I will do everything. In both cases, Swami will stay, divine grace will be away from you. Divine grace and human effort are supplementary and complementary to each other. They are twin factors to produce ultimate divine experience. Initially, when we go to Swami, for us, when we say divine means Bhagwan, initially, whosoever would have gone to Bhagwan, he would have given some material grace, laddu, vibhuti, necklace, creation, interview, padanamaskar, blessings. Okay, they are all material grace. The problem with we devotees is that those material grace which Swami bestows us, on us, which is very visible, which is very, we keep on uh, gathering the photographs of Swami giving us Padanamaskar. Not bad. We are his children. We can do that. No problem. No problem at all. But then it is not enough if we settle at that material grace level. He is doing all these things to us for us to turn back to him and be aware of the purpose of his incarnation. To take back those who are straying away from the path. So we should not stray away anymore after getting the material grace. No straying away. To grant them ananda, we should work towards getting that ananda. From material grace, it is the visiting card. It is his master's dastak, we say in Hindi, knocking and telling that I have come to you. So it is as though even the first step is taken by him instead of us. So here the tables are turned 100 steps we have to take towards him. We have to move from material grace to spiritual grace. For that, Purushartha is necessary. God has come, knocked our door, and He has given us the grace. Interview is granted. I will take care of you, He has told. How much we have to be drawn towards Him towards his spiritual instructions. Vis-a-vis where we are, we have to do a self-analysis. So we have to pray to God and thank God each day for all the grace. Whatever bad things are happening, it is our prarabdha. Okay, don't mix up those things. It is our limited, stupid, our deeds done in the past. We are suffering. Let Swami not be brought into these dirty things. This is our own deeds, our own suffering we are going through. His divine grace, if we are devoted to Swami, no other grace is required. If we have taken him as God and us are working, taking steps towards spiritual evolvement, what more grace? Don't mix up with this prarabdha, stupid things. This is at our level. Manava's level, he is Madhava knocking at our door. Wake up, my child, he's saying. So, the main essence is even while we are taking up Purushartha. So, we said Purushartha and divine grace go together and they meet at some point of time. They marry each other and then stay on forever. The Purushartha continues, the divine grace continues, both are together. Life is as though a heaven. So even with the grace, with this initial material grace bestowed on us, darshan, sparshan, sambhashan bestowed on us, while we proceed, how should be our attitude? How should be our inner heart, pure heart? How should be our heart? मुझे शक्ति दो मेरे साई शिवा, even for my purusharth, grace me. Kayena vacha manasa, everything is surrendered. Be in me, come to me, be in me, be with me, hold my hands, and let me work through my purusharth. Life becomes a game. If we take him along with us, it becomes a game. Play. When he says that whatever is going on within him, it should also go on, come in you. Then the communication is total. Actually, when he says that everything is him, actually he doesn't feel like talking anything more. Truthfully, he's telling 100% because he's experiencing him totally in totality. Okay, now about the Purusharth and the divine grace, we'll see further with an analogy. We are stuck in a cave. This example has been given to the other sadhakas so many times, but with a different dimension he is going to give now. We are stuck in a cave. It's total darkness. What Shivananji Maharaj said, don't weep, don't cry. He said, okay. So now we have to take up Purusharth to come out of this darkness. Like the God, go back to the creation session or go back to the Satchitananda session where he explained about the Intel efficient cost, material cost, instrument cost. You remember? Exactly. Now we have to use our efficient cost to think how to usher in the light sunshine from outside. For that we have to think efficiently. We have to use a hammer and a big nail as instrument and material costs, and we have to chisel out, we will have to break, we will have to work on one stone. To remove that stone, wholehearted purusharth is required. We have to remove one stone, and then the sunshine, the divine grace is waiting there ever, ever, just outside. It is waiting for us to remove one stone and the light to come in. That is the divine grace. Divine grace is always there, because through the Chitra Deepa session, through the Satchitananda, through so many blog posts, we have understood divinity, Brahman is all pervasive. So, needless to say, His grace has also to be all pervasive. It is always there. Just because you are stuck up in the cave, the sunshine is not there. No, you have to take up the Purusharth, and then you have to break open one stone. It may take months or weeks, but tireless Purusharth, intense Purusharth is required. You can equate this, and you can imagine this with all your efforts in your life, material also, everything. But then the beauty here is to be, after having understood the Mujhe Shakti Do, Mere Sai Shiva part, the surrender part, the beauty is that here the material and the instrument cost, the nail, the hammer, and the efficient cost, the efficiency, Kayena Vacha, you tell everything is you. I am not sitting idle for you to do some miracle and to break open and come inside. I am going to take up the efforts. But even before taking up the efforts, everything is you. Nothing is kept aside in that mantra, body, kaya, vacha, words, mind, indriya, senses. My prakriti, my tendencies, vasanas, samskaras, swabhavat. Everything is you only. Not everything is surrendered to you to say that you are separate from me. Everything is you. Then see how your BMI works, how your samskaras get changed, how that cave wall is opened, one stone is opened. Then how, when you have told sincerely, believed and told and surrendered and convincingly, sorry, told him you are everything, then he has to be everything. Then he is that nail, he is that hammer, he is you, he is your brain, he is your intellect, he is that stone, and he is the sunshine waiting outside. How beautiful. We're coming to the end. So, the all merciful God, he is always waiting for us to throw open the door of our heart and to surrender to him. He is always there to divine grace, to shower his divine grace, because he is not anything apart from us. He is the grace. The grace is within us. He is within us. He is everywhere. Sahasra Sirsha. Thousands, not thousand, thousands everywhere, all pervading. So, God did not, up to a certain level, 2009 10, he did not give much to this. but he granted only one thing: memory, and to take up everything and absorb and keep it inside. Perhaps that helped in the spiritual path also. Like the 1975 bhajans sung in Nankanallur by one Vijayavalli auntie, by one Nagasubramaniam uncle, all those people, 75 Rajadi Raja, Raja Gambhira, Raja Marthanda, Raja Shiva, Muralidhara, Murahara, Natavara, all those songs. Nandalal, Yadu Nandalal. Like that, one beautiful aspect of how God waits for us. We have talked about all sunlight waiting for us to take up the Purusharth and to shower its grace. So he talked about his, before taking up that song, Pandari Nivasa He Panduranga, also included in Samarpan, composed by his guru, Nagaraj. While how that soul, Brother Hari, comes up with such appropriate poses of Swami is something beyond imagination. When he talks about how Krishna, Panduranga waited when he was told, I am serving my mother, stay there, sit in that stone. He was told while taking up that song, Pandari Nivasa He Panduranga. There you waited for Pundalika, Pandari Nivasa He Panduranga. My Gurudev writes, here you are waiting for all of us in this incarnation. He Partivasa Shri Sai Deva. Your waiting is perennial, eternal. We don't come to you. We keep you waiting in all Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, every Yuga. Your role is, we have assigned you only one role: BRB, be right back. So he shows a beautiful, beautiful pose. I think it shows the connection issue. Maybe a couple of minutes you may not get the view. I don't know. But then in the YouTube, when Raghava posts it, you will get it. So we are ending now. He shows a photograph where beautiful Swami, beautiful, Manohara Visena. Okay, beautiful Swami. Beauty and all, useless words when it comes to Swami. Enchanting and all. He has used all these expressions while writing on the Samarpan bhajans, because what to do? There are no other words, no other expressions available. To experience the beauty of Swami, you have to be silent only. You cannot speak actually. But still, Brother Hari shows a slide where Swami, there is a gate, little open gate, and Swami is peeping through his face like that. He's waiting. Like the Raja Gambhira and that Murali Bajao, all 75 songs. It's imprinted here, which he could give in the Samarpan. That pose, almost all poses showed by Hari, they are all here. Though this pose is not exactly to that level, still somewhere he will show you. See Swami waiting. What beautiful. He's waiting, 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 waiting to shower his divine grace. Now is Vedanta contradicting all this? No. This aspect itself struck him yesterday night. Believe him. If you are talking about Purushartha and divine grace, this has not been given even to the sadhakas who are with him for 10 years, because it came like Swami creates the laddu from the Chitravati sand, fresh, hot. It came last evening. In the sadhana chatushtaya, in the path, in the in the very clear, focused, defined, grammatically defined path of jnana, sadhana chatushtaya, if you, though for those who have attended that, and you all others will get it soon. If Viveka and Vairagya, here the tables are turned in, here in this path, first step has to be yours. Okay. Okay, we said anyway, first step is ours. Okay, fine. The Viveka Vairagya is, this is your Purushartha. Then in the Vedanta also the Shat Sampad and the Mumukshatva will be his grace. Because once you are 100% certified analyst, we say, na, ISO certified, like that, Viveka Vairagya is 100%, Paripurna Viveka Vairagya is there. Shat Sampad and Mumukshatva has to follow. Like if the stone is opened, the sunshine has to usher in. Even in the path of jnana, it is all about Purusharth and divine grace. Where is the contradiction between bhakti and jnana? You tell. If your Viveka and Vairagya are 100%, not 99%, then you can roar like Shivananji Maharaj. You can roar like Balagangadhara Tilak and say, like he said, freedom is our birthright, we will take it. We can tell to Bhagavan, Shat Sampat Mumukshatva is our right. You definitely will grace us, and he will definitely grace us. How beautifully Vedanta and Bhakti comes together. We will skip a portion. We will end with one Swami's quote. Swami said, which year? August 1996 discourse. Vedanta declares, Swami's quote Swami, once you exhaust your merits, you have to come back to the mortal world from heaven, from astral world. Once your merit is exhausted, you lose your deservedness also. Here is a small example. A man becomes a member of the legislative assembly and sits in the assembly hall when he wins the election. But for how long? For 5 years. Once the term is over, he has to come out of it. He cannot remain as a member of the assembly thereafter. Therefore, before his 5-year term is over, he should make efforts to win the favor of people so that he gets re-elected. Similarly, you have the sacred opportunity as a result of your past merits. He is not telling, but he interferes with permission of Swami. As a result of your past merits, these lines are flowing from here. You are Sai devotee. Swami says, similarly, you have the sacred opportunity as a result of your past merits. In your present life, like the MLA has to work for the fellow being to win the election and come back again to serve them. In your present life, also develop sacred feelings so that you become more and more deserving God's grace. Then the merits accrue in your present birth, white arrows, Kriyamana karmas, white arrows, will get added to the sanchita, to the merits of your past births, and ensure the safety and security of your future next birth. Hence, it is necessary for you to lead the present life in a sacred manner. Strengthen and enhance the love and grace that you have already received. That is why you could visit Bharti. That is why you could, even if you have not visited, you were convinced that he is incarnation. That thought in you that he is avatar, that itself is grace. Everything is His grace. Otherwise, I would not be speaking, you would not be listening. Everything is grace. That doesn't mean that we should not do Purushartha. Intense Purushartha, intense working on that stone with the conviction that the hammer, the nail, the stone, the light, me, darkness, everything is that. That is why Swami says life is a game played with this evolved thoughts, with this evolved way approach. Where is prarabdha? And where is even your awareness of your purushartha? Purushartha also happens. Use of your intellect also happens. How beautiful. We continue today's satsang. Tomorrow it will be further on four purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and very, very important, we are going to see through the purushartha in all the four ashramas in life: brahmacharya, grahasthashram, vanaprasthashram, and sannyasa ashram. How to exercise purushartha, how to lead life as per the Manusmritis, as per the Dharma Shastras. In that, he has taken out all those which is impossible in the present day life, but he has captured those portions which are still possible in 2020 or 2080 or whatever. Very, very important. And then about the questions and answers. If genuine questions are there, and two questions have been received, he is addressing to them. Swami is addressing to them through him. So, any questions? Come back and live. Let the day, whole day, irrespective of your arthakama, irrespective of your responsibilities, let the whole day be in these elevated thoughts of our Purushartha and His divine grace, and treating everything as His grace. My Vyaktitva, my identity is not there. Kayena vacha manasendriya. Buddhi atmana bhava prakriti svabhava. Karomi yat sakalam parasmai. Narayana yeti samarpaya. Samarpayami, samarpayami. Jai Sai Ram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Don't come down even a bit from the experience of today's satsang. Be there throughout the day. Next day morning will come immediately. He is trying to get hold of some good baja come tabla in the Apple stores. He is in contact with Sundarayar. He has given one. So we will also bring in some songs if we have time. Subject itself is so much. Only this karma. Otherwise, we can be precise. This is for our life, for our living, how to lead each each minute of our life. So this has to be done justice. Okay. We should be in that elevated thought always. Whatever is happening to us should never, ever, never, ever bring in our in come in the way of our communion with God. As Jai Sai Ram's messages are coming in, he is just utilizing that time. All right. Jai Sai Rams to all of you. Like the gulab jamun soaked in that jeera essence. Be in these elevated thoughts today and forever. ऐसा निकल जाएगा लाइफ, पता भी नहीं चलेगा।